Coming up on OC News, help is pouring into Nepal after a 7.8 earthquake. Riots in Baltimore have subsided, and find out how Starbucks can pay for your tuition.
Starbucks has partnered up with ASU to make students' dreams a reality, donating $250 million to see 25,000 students graduate by 2025.
I don't think it's unfair to the rest of us because certainly some of us have more privilege and are able to afford school, but if there's programs like that, it's great because there's people who can't, and it'd be nice to have that helping hand.
The Starbucks College Achievement Plan will provide lifelong opportunity for eligible partners in the United States by helping them complete their bachelor's degree with full tuition reimbursement for over 40 undergraduate programs offered online.
If Starbucks is willing to pay money, we should take those money. I think. I mean, it's an option. It's not like you're obligated to do anything, but to have that option to students is good. Well, obviously, if it works, if they hear a lot of positive feedback from students, someone else will try to do it too.
I think it's more of an incentive for ASU to get more students, because if Starbucks is giving the funds to the schools, that they're getting more capital by the students actually working for Starbucks. So in turn, they're gaining. It's pretty much for our future,
Also coming up on OC News, a driver is still at large after running over an elderly woman in a McDonald's parking lot, and a look into a classroom where they're putting down pencils for wands.
Find out which genre is making headlines and why Bud Light is under fire for their new slogan. OC News starts right now.
Welcome to another edition of OC News. I'm Kelsey Lujan.
And I'm Lauren Gross. OC News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students of Cal State Fullerton.
Baltimore riots are settled, but there are still protests. President Obama reached out to the nation yesterday to address the violence and Freddie Gray's family. The cause of Gray's death is still uncertain. In his address, Obama used the word thug to describe the actions of the rioters, saying that there were, quote, criminals and thugs who tore up the place. Obama also stated that he is frustrated that the media is only focusing on the riots rather than the peaceful protests. He stated, frankly, they didn't get that much attention, and one burning building will be looped on television over and over and over again, and the thousands of demonstrators who did it the right way, I think, have been lost in the discussion.
Numerous Americans still remain unaccounted for after Saturday's earthquake in Nepal, according to U.S. officials. The death toll from the disaster has now topped 5,000. Meanwhile, here at home, disaster relief such as the Red Cross are busy sending aid. The brother of late actor Paul Walker is preparing for an emotional journey to Nepal. It will be his first mission heading up Walker's disaster relief organization, Reach Out Worldwide. The 9-member mobile disaster medical team, consisting of 1 doctor and several local firefighter paramedics, including 1 from the Orange County Fire Authority and 3 from the Pasadena Fire Department, will be sent to the hardest hit areas of Nepal. If you are on campus today, you might be wondering why there are so many colored t-shirts hanging in the quad. The reason, we had representatives of the Clothesline Project, quote, bearing witness to violence, unquote. Their purpose is to be a voice for individuals affected by violence by allowing them to express their emotions or experiences by decorating a shirt, each color standing for a different type of assault, mostly against women. Lala Soom was there with the story. The decomposed body found in a creek bed in the Cleveland National Forest near San Juan Capistrano Monday night has now been identified as Erica Alonzo, the Laguna Hills woman who went missing the day after Valentine's Day. Her Honda Civic was found in Aliso Viejo in March, about a mile away from her home where she lived with her parents. An autopsy completed today for the 28-year-old showed no obvious signs of trauma, and toxicology tests are now being performed. Orange County Sheriff's Department Lieutenant Jeff Halleck said her boyfriend has been cooperative and is not in custody as a suspect.
When we return, police are still searching for the driver involved in a hit and run in Huntington Beach that left an elderly woman injured. And in National, we will have the latest on the California drought.
Titan Radio is Cal State Fullerton's own radio station located in the basement of Pollock Library. Students can stop by and pick up an application during operating hours. Anyone who has a computer and internet can listen to us, www.titanradio.org. A lot of people who want to pursue TV and film usually start out in radio, so it's always a great opportunity.
The search continues for the driver who was caught on camera backing up his car over an elderly woman in Huntington Beach last Wednesday. According to police, the man was driving a Dodge Challenger when he struck an 85-year-old woman in the parking lot of a McDonald's in the 1600 block of Beach Boulevard. The suspect's car was described as a newer model charcoal gray Dodge Challenger with no front license plate, chrome gas cap, and chrome rims. The driver of the car is described as a white or Asian male in his mid-20s, around 6 feet tall, with a medium build and a short dark hair. A white or Asian female in her early 20s, around 5 feet 5 inches tall, with a medium build and long dark hair, was also said to be in the car. Police say they fled north on Beach Boulevard.
And now, here's a story of a man proving it's never too late to follow your dreams and even help others along the way.
Refuge International, a Texas-based volunteer medical group, travels to Guatemala several times a year. This time, the destination is a clinic in the remote village of Chocolá, where the 32-person medical team is joined by 59-year-old general practitioner Scott Lawrence and his 17-year-old daughter, Madison.
The environment here, I can spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes with a patient and talk in detail about what's happening to their body, what that disease process is, where it's probably going to go, and explain it to them in a way that they can understand it. I don't get to do that anywhere in the United States.
Another difference Dr. Lawrence has encountered in Chocolá are limited resources and hours much longer than those at the clinic he practices at in his hometown of Tyler, Texas.
Days have been long here at the clinic, and Dr. Lawrence has seen nearly 50 patients today alone, but had he not made a life-changing decision 19 years ago, he may not even have been here in this very room sharing his passion for people.
Before being addressed as doctor, Lawrence flew F-4 and F-16 fighter crafts. He served as a fighter pilot in the U.S. Air Force for 21 years, his career peaking at the rank of lieutenant colonel. That's when, at the age of 37, Lawrence decided it was time for a change, applied to med school at the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, and was accepted. And as the oldest of all the med students in his class, balancing school and family was at times challenging for Lawrence. But he was determined to make his new career choice work.
And I'd sit in the stands, watch my kid when he was playing, and when she wasn't playing, I was studying my stuff.
Flying a fighter aircraft and being a doctor are two separate careers that Maddie believes have both benefited her father. But she also thinks the late career switch grounded him in more than one way.
What he's really taken away from the Air Force is like organization and just like being very systematic and everything. And what he's taken away from a doctor is more like a personal side and a human side to like treating people and really helping people.
And Lawrence's compassion and patience aren't only traits he displays in the exam room.
Yeah, it's really an inspiration. He's like that with homework and, you know, schoolwork. He's really good at math, so he helps me with a lot of my homework. And so he's just like really understanding and patient with me whenever we're doing anything. So.
A family man, a fighter pilot, a doctor. Whatever Lawrence's mission is, he says he wants to create an impact with the time he has left. Through volunteer missions like this, he has the ability to leave a lasting impression. And for the people of Chocolá, Guatemala, Lawrence has certainly become a portrait of hope and health. Reporting from Guatemala, I'm Lauren Gross.
Last Saturday, dozens of families gathered in Exposition Park for March of Dimes' annual March for Babies. The march allowed parents of premature babies to get together and march for a cause near and dear to their hearts. Our reporter Samantha Perez has the story.
Hundreds of parents and their little miracles walked in support of each other and in support of premature birth research during the annual March of Dimes March for Babies last Saturday. Families were encouraged to form walking teams and raise money for the organization. But for Gabriela Toledo and her family, the march was extra special.
First year doing it, so just supporting an organization that's researching premature birth, and hopefully one day babies won't be born too soon and all babies will live. and no family will have to do NICU.
Gabriella's babies were born 13 weeks prematurely. Travis was only 3 pounds and Ryan weighed in at a tiny 2 pounds. Their father, Christian, recalls how hard it was to see his sons in an incubator.
The challenges and all the babies struggling around him, and all the tubes and stuff feeding him, and it was intense.
And you can't hold them right away, and that's hard. So that's really what it is.
The event had a remembrance tent for parents of preemies who just couldn't hold on. Thankfully, Christian and Gabriella can count themselves among the blessed.
Come on, look at this. This is just crazy, He's tripled his weight, quadrupled. I mean, he's 26 pounds, so it's amazing.
These families march to remember the babies they've lost and to celebrate those who have made it. And ultimately, they march so that one day all babies will be born healthy. For OC News, I'm Samantha Perez.
A great story can move you, but when it touches close to home, it can inspire you to action. It was a story like the latter that launched the Donate Life Walk Run event that was held right here at Cal State Fullerton last Saturday. Our very own Maurice Pennington looked beyond the surface to the heart of what the event is all about.
What would you give to save the life of a father, a husband, a friend? For Cal State Fullerton graduate student Justin Hostert, he gave precisely what was needed.
I remember sitting there saying, if I have to strap you down to the table myself, you will get my kid. Because I want to save him. I want to get it over with. I want him to have his life back.
It's a gift from his heart. There's been never a question in his mind, just like with Kathleen. He's a lot like his mom. When he makes a decision, he makes a decision. And this is something he wanted to do when he was 9 years old, believe it or not. Well, here we are 14 years later, and he's giving me one. I'm looking at my son. I think of the compassion that he has and the love that he has for me. I can't put it into words. I just can't.
Do this for him is just, I can't even tell you how much it means to me. I don't even think I've realized what it is yet, so I'm ready to do it for him.
It'll be amazing. It'll be amazing. You'll look at him and know that there's a part of you inside of him. And now you and me will be inside of him.
That's right. Justin's mother, Kathleen, gave one of her kidneys to her husband and Justin's father 14 years earlier. The successful transplant led the Hosterts to create what is now the largest gathering of its kind in the country, the Donate Life Run Walk, held on the campus of Cal State Fullerton. Last Saturday marked the 13th annual Run Walk event.
I'm a two-time kidney recipient. My wife gave to me 14 years ago, and then my son stepped up 2 years ago. I'm standing here in front of you as a testament to transplantation that it works. Enjoy this day. It's about you. It's about life. It's about life-giving, and it's about life that has been lived and honoring. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy your day, make friends, and just celebrate.
What would you give to save the life of a father, a husband, a friend? For Justin Hostert, it wasn't just his kidney that he gave. He gave his mother, her husband, his sister, a dad, and his father, his life.
California's water tier system is overturned and the Supreme Court hears arguments over the constitutionality of gay marriage. Anthony Aliso has our national news.
Governor Jerry Brown finds himself in a bit of a pickle after the 4th District appealed on Monday in San Juan Capistrano, saying that the tiered water rates were unconstitutional because they were not directly tied to how much it costs to provide the water to customers. You can't just set rates willy-nilly, and you can't just come up with whatever you want, then reverse engineer, said Benjamin Benumaf, who went on to also state that the tiers have to be cost-based. There has to be a link between the incremental cost of the price of those higher tiers. Him and attorney Mike Hensley said the suit against the city claimed that the city violated Proposition 218, but also stated that there were ways to have tiered systems and other pricing that promotes conservation yet still complies with the proposition. Brown issued the following statement, quote, "The practical effect of the court's decision is to put a straitjacket on the local government at a time when maximum flexibility is needed," end quote. The more and more water use and the more expensive it can be for us to get it. So we'll have to look at each particular instance here in Los Angeles, said Mayor Eric Garcetti. Some worry this could prevent the idea of promoting conservation through higher pricing, said Benham and Hensley, as they are in favor of water conservation and never intended ruling to prevent it. Supreme Court justices are still hearing arguments over the constitutionality of gay marriage and still appear to be divided, with Justice Anthony Kennedy returning to a familiar role as the court's pivotal vote. Chief Justice John Roberts, who shocked conservatives with his swing vote to uphold the Obamacare, said at this time it seemed to lean more closely to conservative justices. The arguments unfurling inside the packed courtroom while supporters and opponents of same-sex marriage rallied outside. Many other questions centered around the definition of marriage and whether its decision to authorize or ban gay marriage should be left to the voters, individual states, or decided by the judicial system. All eyes on Justice Anthony Kennedy, who is considered to be a vote for challengers to the state bans who penned their decisions in favor of gay rights over the years.
Well, coming up after the break, while you may not be able to attend Hogwarts, you can get the Harry Potter experience right here at Cal State Fullerton.
And you might just be able to live out your preteen dreams. Find out how you can score a date with Lizzie McGuire.
Welcome back to OC News, where we're keeping you updated on the latest in health. Well, watching as little as an hour of television a day can significantly increase a child's obesity risks. A pediatrician group met in San Diego. A study presented there followed more than 11,000 kindergarteners and first graders. It found kids who watched an hour or more a day had significantly higher body mass indexes than those who watched just 30 minutes or less. TV tots were up to 73% more likely to be obese. Computer use wasn't associated with higher body weight. Researchers said most American kindergarteners watch an average of 3.3 hours of TV per day. Experts are now calling for new guidelines on TV viewing times. Now onto some health news for you older kids, where a new study reveals that youthful binge drinking could lead to brain issues as you get older. The study suggests that young adults' brain is quite sensitive to binge drinking. As a result, such drinking may cause memory problems in adults. And to make matters worse, brain cells may become more vulnerable to injury from trauma or disease. The study was published this week in the Journal of Alcoholism. While legal drinking age across the U.S. is 21, Hawaii is poised to become the first state in a nationwide ban of the sale of cigarettes and other tobacco products to anybody under the age of 21. The state legislature passed a bill on Friday raising the minimum legal age to 21 from 18 to buy tobacco or e-cigarettes. Under the bill, anyone caught breaking the law would face a $10 fine for the first offense and higher fines after that. The bill is now before Governor David Ige, whose signature would make it a law in Hawaii next year. It's not clear if he will sign it, but on Friday he did approve legislation banning the use of e-cigarettes in all locations where smoking is illegal. 46 U.S. states permit the sale of tobacco to anyone 18 or older. Alabama, Alaska, New Jersey, and Utah require customers to be at least 19. Dozens of cities and towns, including New York City, have already raised the minimum legal age for tobacco purchases to 21. So, I did not know that in New York City you had to be 21 to purchase tobacco. What do you think about Hawaii changing their laws?
I didn't know that either, and I could see that it could possibly be beneficial to raise the age.
Okay, well, Cal State Fullerton is now offering students the best alternative to attending Hogwarts itself. The new Harry Potter class here on campus is being described as the perfect combination of pop culture and academia.
Did you ever hope to get a letter from Hogwarts? If you're a Harry Potter fan, or even just curious about the world of wizards and witches, you may be surprised to learn there's a class for that.
I think one of my friends in one of my classes kind of told me about it, just word of mouth, and I heard it was really popular, and Hollis is one of my favorite teachers, so I really wanted to take it, so that's how I did. What's really interesting is we focused a lot on the themes within Harry Potter, so going back and just kind of revisiting it with this kind of more academic lens, it's really interesting, like seeing some of like the more problematic natures of things, or like experiencing like feminism within Harry Potter, just these aspects that you wouldn't really think about when you were younger, and just kind of going back and realizing that there is so much more to the series.
Many students from classes past return and take positions as heads of house in the chorus.
It's really awesome because I can share my experience as a student with the students who are currently taking the class. So it's kind of fun to be on the other side of it too, because I already know like kind of what's going to happen and what's the expectations are for like certain projects and things. So it makes the students feel a lot less nervous. When I think that like classes like this Harry Potter class are super important to helping students kind of see that they can bridge the gap between like what we see on TV and in the movie theaters and what's going on in like the academic kind of realm, that everything is worth criticizing in good and bad ways, and like just looking at and analyzing deeper.
I like couldn't think I could get any bigger of a Harry Potter fan, and it just totally has. Like my post-Potter depression is so real like right now.
So if you're interested in analyzing a childhood classic and an academic platform, you may want to look into taking English 345T, where you're not only, with the help of this little sorting hat, learn what house you're in, but also the underlying themes within the Harry Potter series. Let's find out what house I'm in. And it's Gryffindor. What house are you? Reporting for OC News, I'm Christina Hilliard.
Thanks, guys. A gender is making headlines again, and no, it's not Kendall or Kylie, but this time it's Bruce. Bruce Jenner's interview about transitioning to becoming a woman landed ABC huge ratings this past weekend. According to Nielsen ratings of the 2-hour special with Diane Sawyer, it nabbed nearly 17 million viewers, and millions more chatted about the former Olympic athlete's gender transition on Twitter. 972,000 tweets were posted about Jenner's appearance on 2020, according to the preliminary Nielsen figures. It was the most watched Friday program, excluding sports, since 2003. Preceding the interview, E! Entertainment Network announced a new reality show about Jenner's transition. It was going to premiere in July of this year. This past week since the interview, you can't go anywhere without hearing people talk about this. And it's going to be a hot topic, and it's not nearly going to fade away anytime soon. The new Avengers movie, Age of Ultron, did some serious damage this past weekend when it debuted overseas, and it seems as if superheroes are taking over the box office. The highly anticipated movie earned $9.5 million in total on its first day, and up to $44.8 million worldwide heading into the weekend. It will expand to most of the rest of the world over the next week, with high-profile debuts in America on May 1st, China on May 12th, and Japan on July 4th. And with the extended weekend accounted for, the $250 million production has earned $201.2 million worldwide. As well, it earned them $10.7 million of that in IMAX, netting the company's biggest overseas Not With China debut ever. Age of Ultron is set to premiere in the US on Friday, and industry analysis say it could bring in more than $200 million in the US in the first weekend. Bud Light recently came under fire for their marketing campaign that seemed to be pro-rape, and now Bud Light's apologizing for the angering fans that had a problem with that slogan. As a part of the alcohol company's Up for Whatever campaign, Bud Light recently began labeling their bottles with the phrase, "the perfect beer for removing no from your vocabulary for the night." #UpForWhatever. Instead of encouraging people to adopt a carefree attitude and open minds, critics read this slogan differently and called out the company for seeming to endorse rape and unwanted sexual advances. As for the backlash, some responded very seriously on Twitter, while others made fun of the Bud Light for their questionable slogan. That about wraps it up for entertainment news. I'm Tatiana Garcia.
Thanks, Tatiana. Well, for anyone wanting to go on a date with Hilary Duff, it could be as simple as swiping right. Disney's golden child admitted to an LA radio station that she is now using Tinder. So far, the smartphone dating app has worked. Duff says she's already lined up 2 dates.
That's all we have for this edition of OC News. Thanks for tuning in.
Make sure to watch our final editions next week. Good night.